Hey, what's happening, good people? So that's Shante Coleman and Love JJ814. I see you there. Glad to have you guys here. Yeah. All right, we'll be getting started here in just a little bit. Guardian of Light, how are you? Glad to have you here. Glad to have you guys here. Andrew McLean. All right. Glad to have you here, Andrew. Trina, how you doing, girl? What's going on? Mark S., how are you? All right. All right. Glad to have you here. Was that Kylenza Ritchie? How are you? Virgo Venom, how are you? Chris Digital, all the way from Guyana. All right. How you doing, Chris? Black Butterfly, how are you? How are you doing? How's it going? And there's Vo Vibes, my daughter. She's in the house. All right. Good. Yeah, we'll be getting going here in just a little bit. Glad to have you guys here. Man, I've had a day to day. I had I'm aware the lights and stuff have been going on and off, guys. So hopefully they won't shut me off while we're doing the live. And but if they do, of course we'll have to stop it. But I can go for a little while. I just probably have to do it by candlelight, so y'all wouldn't be able to see me, but I can see your questions. So Lynn Leach, how you doing? Good to have you. Good to have you. So yeah. But yeah, I woke up this morning and man, about 10 minutes after I got up, I had a pipe just burst my apartment and my whole apartment flooded. So, but I'm all good. So I'm glad to be here with you guys tonight. So everything is going good. Martha, how's it going? Johnny, the African, how's it going? Good to have you here. Yeah, exactly. I'm praying too, love JJ. Keep those lights on. What up, Gino? How's it going? How's it going? Donna Hicken, how are you doing? Glad to have you here. I read my aunt. Hello. How's it going, Julie? Good to see you. Unique Jordan. All right. Well, glad you let the kids get in. How or listen? How you doing? And AH, how's it going? I know you said you had sent me an email and had some questions. You can ask those here too. You can ask those questions here, okay? About the class. So hold on just a little second. I got to do a little work here. Hey, I'm getting ready to start a live here, so I can give you a call after I'm finished after that. Okay? Yeah, they are. Nope, not yet. All right, bye bye. All right, sorry about that, guys. Had to take that one. All right, Reginald Page from Tuscaloosa. All right. How you doing? Yeah, let's see. All right. Well, it's high time here, guys. Sun King, how you doing? Good to have you here. Good to have you here, brother. And let's see. I be done. Badmus. Good to have you here. All right. So let's get this party started. And again, hopefully the lights and stuff will stay on because it's just been getting so cold here. Our electric grid's been getting overloaded, so they've been like having the lights go on and off for a period of time. So on for a couple of hours, off for about 45 minutes, then back on for a couple of hours. But so far today, they stayed on all day. So I'm like, yay! So we'll get this in. So I'm Reginald Kuakaru, and I'm the founder of Kemetic Living. And my sidekick in the chat is, of course, my daughter, Vo Vibes, Voice. And this will be a positive experience. So please be kind to everyone in chat and be kind to myself in voice shape. If you're not, you will be bounced out. No warning. But everybody's pretty good with that. Things can get moving pretty quick with all the questions. So guys, if we say something good, and you can use super chat to basically give a little, and then also I can see your questions. So you can ask your questions with the super chat. The super chat is you'll see that $ at the bottom of the window, at the bottom of your chat window, and you can click on that, and then you can give and then ask your questions in that. Let's see. I have a class titled The African Mind Rewire that will teach you how to apply African spiritual science in your life. So if y'all notice, most of my videos and stuff, they're not just about information. They're about how you apply the spirituality. Basically, what the church should have been teaching us when we were Christians. That's what my class actually takes that a little bit a notch higher, and we get deeper into the science. So you guys do not have any questions or musings about how you pray, how you're supposed to do this and do that. So we get in it and I break it down for you pretty good. It's all self-paced. We have a monthly class that is on the third Saturday of the month. So I've actually already done it for this month. So we'll have it for March on the third Saturday. And then that's at 11 a.m. Central Time. If you're not interested in the class, and you might be interested in my course, which is the African Spirituality Before Christianity. And again, I break that down. I break down all the things that were Christian and how Christianity changed the ancient African stuff, basically is what I do. And again, it's more on I break it down, but it's also giving you practical application on how to transition from Christianity, from religion, to being spiritual, okay, and the African spiritual science. So if you're interested in either of those, but also if you sign up for my class, you'll also get access to the courses, actually 2 courses that I have that you'll also have access to. So all of those are self-paced. You do them at your own pace, at your own time, okay? So again, thank you guys for being here. I'm excited as always. You got questions, and I'm just going to free flow with you tonight. So didn't have anything specific that I was going to teach on. So it's going to be your questions is going to be what I'll teach on, okay? And I'll answer everything to the best of my knowledge and ability. If I don't know it, these are the words you'll hear. I don't know. So I don't know it all. I study a lot. I know a lot, but I don't know it all, guys, and I don't study it all. So if I don't know something, I won't BS you. I'll just say I don't know, and I don't have a problem doing that. Okay? So, all right. Let's get going. Let's get going. Let's see. Arthur Jawa, how are you doing? Kyrie Burton, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Let's see. And I'm going to get literature to read on these teachings. So Michael Bascom asks, where can I get literature to read on these teachings? If you guys will click in the descriptions in the videos, the books that I use across the site, I put all the links in there. Now, they're affiliate links for me, so I appreciate it if you guys use those and support the channel. But all the books, my classes and courses, I put links in there as well. So you can get that, and you can get those books, and those will be helpful for you. Okay. And let's see. And Guardian of Light asks a good question. So gives $4.99 and asks a question. It says, "Is the Book of the Dead a good starter book to understand ancient spirituality? My consciousness is rising." The Book of the Dead is not a good book for. It does not give you the system of Kemetic spirituality. So it teaches you, or you can learn a little bit about the connection between the New Testament and the Book of the Dead, but it is not a system. So it doesn't teach you, and that's one of the things that was very frustrating for me when I first started learning this stuff. And I was looking for stuff, people that actually taught the system. And what I found is that there was a lot of books out there that would teach you bits and pieces, but they didn't put it together in a way that you could use it. And what I found was is that after I started to studying it, I started to notice, because of my background as a metaphysician, I started to notice a lot of different connections with Christianity, the law of attraction, and stuff like that. So that's where my expertise as a metaphysician helps you. I help you connect the dots to that stuff so that you can use this information practically in your life. But no, the Book of the Dead is just a bunch of pieces of information. So if you want to learn some, I guess, some knowledge, then it might be okay for that. But even still, it's just bits and pieces of information. So it's not like a coherent system put together. Okay. Let's see. And information, how are you doing, sister? Good to see you. Good to see you. Let's see. M. Carter, what does Kemet teach, if anything, about marriage? See, they don't get into specific questions like that because the ancient Kemetic system, the principles that they go by informs how they live. So they didn't necessarily, you won't find anything necessarily specific about, and I call these like rules. So we asked a lot of questions about the rules, but they taught more about principles. They were more, how can I say? They were more concerned with the way the universal laws manifest themselves rather than looking at how things are manifested and then trying to figure all of that out. So even in the mythology, you always have a masculine and a feminine. There's only a couple of netters that don't, but you usually have a masculine and a feminine put together. Okay, and one is the masculine. How can I say? The feminine is always the environment. The feminine sets the environment. Okay, and then the masculine is the one that just goes out and creates, in a sense. Okay, so in that sense, masculine and feminine always have a distinct. I don't know. I don't know how to say. There's always a distinct way that they did things. Okay, so women did not have to fight for equal rights in African society. Okay, they were always looked at as two halves of the whole. Always. Okay. So those specific questions, I know people a lot of times ask me about homosexuality and stuff like that. Now, I have some ideas about that because of how indigenous people look at that. We look at it as something negative, but in the indigenous societies, those people who basically were like, they were both sexes, they were something special, okay? So it wasn't a negative like we see it in society today and try to treat people in a negative way, okay? Let's see. Thank you, Chief Indian. I'm glad you like the channel. Glad you're here. Let's see. Yes, the book there teaches a lot of how meditation is important to life. Okay. Okay. Let's see. And it's 4 a.m. Man, you up at 4 a.m. My goodness. Thank you for being here. Let's see real quick. Let's see. Sun King says, real quick on reparations connection relevant to spiritual science. It can be. I mean, it's about getting what you deserve or getting what you feel like you deserve. You know, so it can be. Let's see. And Guardian of Light says, thanks. I'm a Scorpio. I must know the beginning of where my conscious is sending me. All right, Guardian of Light. And thank you for the donation. Thank you for that $4.99. I'm a Scorpio too. So yeah, Scorpio power in the house. And Jermaine H, thank you for that $5 donation, brother. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And let's see. What point was the Bible weaponized to enslave us? Okay, that's a good question. And this is one of the things that we have to recognize is that racism did not exist until the African slave trade started in the West. So the Bible was basically started to be weaponized against Black people during that time, when they really just needed to subjugate us and make us okay with our plight. Because once you get into the mind of an individual, you don't have to use chains on their body. And that's really what the Bible was used for a lot of times with the African people and African Americans, just and Black people really all over the world. They enslaved our minds, made us to get our reward in heaven. Be content with what you are now. Put a white Jesus in front of the podium, so when they're teaching or in church, they see white Jesus, and the subliminal message is that this is your God. That meant that the overseers and all those other people, all the other whites that were on the plantation, were actually God in flesh. So it works subliminally in a lot of ways. Okay. So that's how that was. See, do you have classes on the 42 principles of Ma'at and the 10 commandments derived from those teachings? Maate Ermias asked that about the 42 principles of Ma'at. No, I do not do a class on the 42 principles of Ma'at, because honestly, I've never found anything that showed me where those ideas come from. And I don't really subscribe to them, because they'll say that there are 42 negative confessions of Ma'at. That goes against every metaphysical principle that I know, that I've ever been taught, that I've ever studied about. You do not do negative confessions, because the universe does not hear no. The universe only gives you what you focus on. So the word no is not even a universal thing. So no, I do not teach the 42 principles of Ma'at. That's not how I teach these ideas. So it's not just about giving you information. It's about giving you information to help you live. Okay. And stuff that, for me, it's stuff that I practice. So it's not theory for me, Let's see. Let's go back. Let's see, things we view homosexuality. Native Americans call them two-spirited people. Yeah, Love Jay. I know the Native Americans were very, very. They looked at them as something special. So yeah, I knew that about Native Americans. Let's see. Black Butterfly says she's a Scorpio. All right now. Let's see. And Tina Marara, does that me too mean I'm a Scorpio? Let's see. Can you expound on speaking in tongues? Is there any connection to Kemetic regarding that? Again, that's something very specific, and unless you're there, there's no way you can know that. But speaking in tongues is basically the idea that you're supposed to be receiving messages. So if you're and you're being able to express those messages, I believe that it's very possible that somebody can channel when they're speaking in tongue. So I think that it's very possible that could be real. Okay. Let's see, maybe some question, but does dinosaur play part in our history? The dinosaurs play a part in our history? No, they did not. So they were long before man was. So they were gone by the time mankind got here. What happens to evil people in the afterlife? Are they punished for their deeds? That's a good question. Camp Okoye says, what happens to evil people? So evil people, we define people as evil. As souls, everybody has their part to play. Okay, so a soul is not necessarily evil. It's just sometimes in any game, so to speak, there has to be a good guy and a bad guy. And as a soul, if you're going to overcome your issues, then you need a nemesis. And sometimes you need that person that you might call your enemy. Okay, so they're not punished. There is no punishment like Christianity and a lot of the even other spiritual systems teach you. There's no punishment. You get the chance to learn, and you get the chance to do it over. Okay, so no punishments. Kemetic and Sumerian, which is older? I'm going to say that since mankind started in Africa, and most of the knowledge traveled up the Nile River, up through Ethiopia, Kemet, Egypt, and then Samaria is supposedly in what they call the Middle East, but that's actually a part of Africa. So just by logic, Kemet and African stuff is going to be a lot older. Let's see, how can we apply our zodiac signs to our everyday life? So Andrew McLean says, how can we apply that? The zodiac signs are basically like archetypes. So you can they give you a chance to look at yourself without being yourself in a way. So you can learn about a Scorpio, and that's something that happened with me. When I started reading these astrology books, I would read about the archetypes and the personality of a Scorpio. And man, I was reading that book and I was like, who the hell been watching me? Because that stuff it really made a lot of points. So a lot of good points. And let's see, I said Martha gave $20. Thank you, Martha. I definitely appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it, sister. Let's see, and actually a slave Bible. Yeah, I've heard about that slave Bible, Ron D. That they put specific or took out scriptures that would empower slaves and put the scriptures that made sure that they would obey their master. So that's some crazy diabolical stuff there. Crazy diabolical stuff. Let's see. I have diamond comes experience with ghosts. What's your input? Ghosts and demons. Unique Jordan says, I've had a lot of experience with ghosts and I'm afraid of dying because of experience with ghosts. What's your input about ghosts and demons? So the idea of demons is something that it's a part of the Christian experience, or I would say a negative religious experience, where where there's good, there has to be bad. Where there's good, there has to be evil. And I don't think that if within that system, if people didn't believe there had to be those two dichotomies, those two experiences on the end, that demons would not exist. And I don't think demons exist for people that don't believe in them. I don't believe in them, so I've never experienced a demon. Now, ghosts are what I've heard, what I've read, are ghosts are spirits that basically are kind of like discombobulated and they don't know where they are, and they can't do any harm to you. Okay, but the way that we are taught in religion, I think in some ways it actually creates a ghost because we do fear death. And people that are the most religious oftentimes fear death the most because we don't know if we're going to heaven or hell. You really can't know. I mean, it's such a crapshoot. You can think you're living a great life, but you can have that thought just before you die, like, oh man, I thought about somebody naked. Oh shit, I'm going to go to hell. So the most religious are the most religious are the most afraid. Okay. Let's see. Touching on the start of your journey. Let's see. Ron D. Ron D says, all right, thank you, Ron D. Gave $15. Says, what does it mean to be first frequency? First. So Ron D, I've never heard that term, first frequency. So I would assume that. Well, no, I can't say. I don't know. I don't know. Ron, they clarify that question for me. What have you heard that about? And usually the concepts are a lot of times the same, but they might have different wording. Let's see. So clarify that for me. I'll look for your question down here in the text. Let's see, at what point was the Bible weaponized to enslave us? Okay, Jermaine, I had answered that for you. So, and thank you for that gift. Let's say, I understand Jesus never existed, but did Yahshua? And have you ever heard of the Essenes? Yes, I have heard of the Essenes. Apparently, they have books documented that he studied in Egypt with them, or like. No, I can tell you with 100% certainty that the person that we know as Jesus in the Bible never existed. I know that with 100% certainty. So, and I have a whole playlist with information that about that proves, or the documentation that Jesus never existed. Yeshua is just the name, because the name Jesus did not exist until the 1600s, 15 or 1600s. Before that, the name was Yeshua. Okay, and it was spelled with an I and a Y. So either way it could be spelled. So Yeshua and Jesus is the same name. They're just spelled differently depending on the language. Okay, so Yeshua and Jesus is the same individual. Let's see. Sorry. Let's see. Impeachment concerns siding with WS and violence. Are we ready? What is WS? Let's see. No, these are political questions here. So let's keep it on Kemetic stuff. I don't really care to get into politics, so that's not my thing. Okay. Let's see. You should be another way. Michael Peaks, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Michael Peaks gave $10, and then that was Divine Achievement. She gave $4.99. Thank you very much. Let's see. You should have another way for people to donate because YouTube takes a huge chunk. Yeah, I do have virtuous. Thank you for that very much. They do. They take 30% of everything. But I do have PayPal and also what's the other one? Cash App. So PayPal and Cash App is the other way. And I didn't even put those here in the deal. But I have them on my channel front page, and you can see them in the right corner, and you can click those to donate. Okay, so I definitely appreciate it. Let's see. When I used to be a Christian, I was afraid of living and dying, but I'm no longer a Christian and feel open and feel open and freer, more than I've ever been in life. Yeah, I agree that Love JJ. That's what a lot of people find. That once they leave Christianity, they just feel a lot more freer. Definitely. So all of us. Let's see. Apollonius of Tyana. Yeah, I've heard that somebody tried to connect him to Jesus. But again, that's just people are just trying to do their best to make Jesus a real individual. There is no archaeological evidence that Jesus or the disciples ever existed, and I can tell you with 100% certainty that they haven't. Okay, they didn't. They weren't real. And if anybody, the everything about Jesus was backdated. So they did not decide Jesus was God until the Council of Nicaea. So everything that we've been taught about Jesus and Christianity and his life was backdated from 325 CE, and they did that. So 300 years after his supposed death is when he was made God or equal to God. All right, they did that purposely because nobody could go check it. Plain and simple. Nobody could go check it. Let's see. What's karmic debt? That's just the idea that somebody's Layla Bell Gigi asked what's karmic debt, and that's just the idea that somebody has to repay some deed that they did in the past. But that's not quite how it really goes though. So we don't have debts and punishment and stuff like that. Okay, seventh denim says, I just want to ask, how do I know what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I overthinking or am I just ready to manifest superpowers yet? A lot of that seventh denim, you're going to be doing things. You just have to ask. First of all, your desire to want to develop superpowers, and really and truly, all of us have those superpowers. Superpowers are really how the soul communicates and how the soul works through us. The soul doesn't stop experiencing just because it's in our physical body. Okay, and a lot of people think that you have to die to experience the soul. You don't. Your intuition. You can dream things. You can. So a lot of the gifts, what we call ESP and psychic and stuff like that. That's just how the soul perceives. And a lot of us have gifts that we can tap into those more than others, but they can be developed. Your desire to want to do that, will be one of the ways that'll help you develop. And you can't wait. You have to learn how to trust your own inner guidance, because a lot of times we're waiting for it to be verified by somebody. We're waiting for it to be validated. Oh, did you do that? Did you have this experience like that? Well, you didn't? Oh, well, I guess it wasn't real. But that's just not the case. It is your experience can be different and unique than anybody else. So don't necessarily discount it. Okay. Let's see. All right. Just take basics. It will answer most of the questions that are coming up in chat. Yep, it will. Yeah, that my Kemetic course is pretty comprehensive. You'll man, it'll break down a lot of stuff for you. And like I said, not only do I break down the netters and teach you, I connect the dots for you. It's not just spewing information to you. It's like, how did this connect to Christianity? Where did it come from? Okay, where did this in the Bible come from? So that's how I do with a lot of that information. Then not only where did it come from, but what am I supposed to do with it? Okay. So yeah. And let's see. Ron. Did you ask that question, Ron? Let me go back up here. Let me see. Did I miss it? No. Let's see. Yeah, Carter. So I'm looking. Things is moving, guys. They're moving. All right. Seven Denim is talking about some XRP. Is that cryptocurrency? I'm into cryptocurrency. See, and also the existence of Atlantis and Thoth being Atlantean. Thoth was not a person. So Mario Mitchell said thoughts on the existence of Atlantis and Thoth being an Atlantean. So I do believe that there was a possibility that Atlantis existed. Okay, but Thoth was not. None of the netters were people. They are expressions of nature personified. That's what they are. So there's not one netter that was a human being. And if you understand that, then that's where you can see and you can go. When you understand what the netters are and their functions, that's how you can connect them to Christianity. And they allude to them, or they use metaphors or allegories to allude to these ideas. So if you know how the netter Horus functions, you can see where Jesus gets a lot of his characteristics. Okay, so Thoth is the netter that represents the human mind. Okay, so that's what Thoth is about. Thoth and thought. Okay, that's where the word thought comes from. Let's see. What's the easiest way to manifest things quickly? Unique Jordan, the easiest way to manifest things quickly is that you have to, first of all, your belief system has to be there about it. And that means that you also have to understand that sometimes your subconscious mind works against what you want to manifest. So you have to be able to bring your subconscious mind and your thoughts to light. And that's not always easy to do. But the best thing is that when you ask, you just don't put up any resistance, and sometimes our own how can I say our own beliefs will be the resistance. Okay. Let's see. Thank you, Voice for putting that up. Voice just put up my Cash App deal. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Let's see. When the conditions are right, the superpowers will manifest on their own, according, perhaps without your knowledge. That can be. It can happen. So what we would call the superpowers, but again, it's just how the soul perceives and how the soul interacts with us. Okay, that's what those superpowers are, and we all have those. We all have those. So let's see. I'm going back, guys. To know what you don't truly. Yeah, Eric Ross says belief is pretending to know what you don't really know. Yeah, or it's just an opinion. You know, everybody, you can say I believe such as that. Yeah, it's just your opinion. You can believe it. You know, so absolutely. Uh, Learning skills for what purpose? Learning skills for what purpose? To improve your life. To how do you manifest and dictate your life? So that's why you want to learn these skills. What skills we put on use? Let's see. Okay. So watch the YouTube channel. Let's see. Lynn Lee says if I watch the Cosmic Agency YouTube channel, no, never even heard of it. So I really don't watch a lot of YouTube videos. So very few channels. And part of that is because the information a lot of times is just, I don't know. I don't want to pollute my thoughts with a lot of other information a lot of times. Okay. So I don't always watch a lot of YouTube stuff. Yeah, Seven Denim. I thought you were talking about a cryptocurrency, but XRP is they're in trouble right now. So with Dolores Cannon and the Hypnotherapist. Let's see. AH, are you familiar with Dolores Cannon? The name sounds familiar. Past life regressions. Yeah. That's I did it. So she was with Yahshua. Yeah, and this is the thing you have to understand about that type of stuff is that everybody that no matter what you channel or no matter what you regress to, your beliefs are still in place. So if you believe something before you got regressed, that doesn't go away. So you're going to filter that information, that knowledge through what you believe. But like I said, I know with 100% certainty that Jesus never existed. So there's plenty of information out there on it, not just mine. So I know. For me, I just kind of connect the dots from to ancient Kemet. So let's see. Kill 555 gave $4.99. Thank you very much. Definitely appreciate it. What is it? Metaphysical. See, Heron Zachariah says, "What is the purpose of the story of Adam and Eve?" See, and these stories, they can have a lot of layers of meaning. Okay, but one of the things is Adam was the non-biblical perspective of it is that Adam was symbolic of the consciousness that entered the earth, the consciousness of humankind that entered the earth. Okay, and Eve was actually the feminine aspect or the intuitive aspect that gave Adam the wisdom. The apple represents the fruit, and the fruit in the ancient esoteric language is wisdom gained from life. Okay, he gave that fruit to Adam and became wise because once she gave the fruit, remember they all of a sudden became like the gods. Okay, so that's one level of what that means. Witchcraft and what? D.L. Smith says, why does Christians associate Kemetic science? It's just conditioning. So Kemetic science with witchcraft and African spirituality with witchcraft, it's simply conditioning. So we've been taught from slavery on in the West that anything African is something negative that we should stay away from and be afraid of. So they basically, again, they caged our minds, okay, so that we don't even look into our own spirituality. But when the Africans brought the spirituality, that's where the ideas like voodoo and Yoruba and stuff like that, they still practice it, but they okay, so they master it. M. Carter says, thank you so much for starting your channel and sharing this info. The need is great. You are familiar with the Ancestral Awakenings channel. Ancestral Awakenings, it doesn't sound familiar. It's also folks, I think you're talking about Ancestral Voices. Is that what you mean? So yeah, they're definitely a friend of this channel. So Ancestral Voices. Let's see. There's one. Let's see. Trying to steal your thunder. So the knowledge we can get is better. Let's see. Without the resistance, there is infinite possibilities. Yep, absolutely. Witchcraft for early Christians was unbelief. Let's see. Correct. Your beliefs are not facts. That is very true. And that's what Christians, that's why when we get into talking to Christians about a lot of this knowledge, we want to argue with them, argue their faith with them with facts. And they think their faith is facts, but it's not. And we get into this battle with them, and it's a battle that you'll never win. You just can't win it. Let's see. Let's see. Repeating numbers, spiritual. Can you? Is seeing? So Renee says, is seeing repeating numbers spiritual? And can you explain? Yes, Renee. That can be what you call a synchronicity. And a synchronicity, how I explain a synchronicity is that we think of time in a linear fashion. Okay, that one day, 1 minute, 1 week, one month after another. But in reality, time does not exist. There is no past, present, and future. That's only a construct of our brain. But synchronicity can help you so outside of our linear way of thinking, everything else is associative, okay? And it's associated and grouped by emotions and feeling. All right. Synchronicity can help in your when you're looking at things in a linear way, it can connect things and associate them based on that number or based on some symbol that you might be aware of. So the synchronicity, the symbols or the numbers might be days apart, but but they are actually associated based on those numbers or those symbols. So that's how synchronicity can work for you. Okay. Yeah, like 1010, 444 is a big one for me. In any of the repeating numbers on the clock, 1111, yeah, all of those are repeating numbers. And see, ITC James put one that says 316. So for him, that's a synchronicity for him. Okay. Another symbol for me is a cardinal. You know, so when I see a cardinal, that usually connects, and I associate, and I immediately when I see a cardinal, I go and I'm asking myself, okay, what was I thinking about back? And that a lot of times will sync those things for me. Okay, and it tells me I'm on the right vibration or I'm on the right track when I see a card. Okay, so yeah, 888. But the numbers on the clock, the repeating numbers on the clock, they're always meaningful to me. You know, so and they can be to you as well. Man, a lot of times you won't know those synchronicities until trial and error. And the way that I started to recognize 444, I'm a Dallas Mavericks basketball fan. And back in 2011, they were playing in the playoffs. And anytime I saw the number 444 on they might have called a timeout or something, and I saw 444, I knew the Mavericks were going to win that game. And just about every time I saw 444, and those were my guys just basically teaching me to trust that number. So my team, because Mavericks were my team, that was a good symbol for me. But my guys were teaching me to recognize that number and recognize it as a symbol for me. Okay, and that can happen like that. Let's see. You're welcome, Renee. So Renee says, thank you for explaining. You helped me to have a better understanding. All right. I'm glad I could help you with that. Let's see, it's an absolute collective construct. Yeah, it is. It's a construct, definitely. It's a collective construct. I agree with that. So any physical time is any physical time. Let's see. Numbers regularly. I'll look up. Yeah, Rhonda says when she sees numbers regularly, she looks up the meaning. And that's another thing. You have to recognize the synchronicity first. You have to recognize it first off that you're even seeing the numbers over and over and over. Because a lot of times they might just pass and you'd be like, you don't even recognize them. But once you do, that's a clue for you. There's meaning there for you. Once you recognize those connections. Is there any principle of teaching in Kemet? Let's see. M. Carter says, some believe we exist in parallel universes. Is there any principle or teaching in Kemet that corresponds to that? Symbolically, yes. If you'll notice some of their reliefs, they like you'll see a bird that has the wings look kind of funny on the bird, and it's look like it's looking from the top, and it's looking like, and another wing might be looking like it's looking from the bottom. That's them saying that there's two different perspectives or two different dimensions. Okay, so they symbolize that in a lot of ways. Know anything about the Anunnaki and Sumerian tablets? The Anunnaki stuff I read about years ago, but my thoughts and my studies went more towards unraveling Christianity. So I never really got into the Anunnaki. So I am aware of them. I am aware of them. Julie was saying of cardinals, mourning doves, and juvenile red-tailed hawk are different symbols for her that she uses for synchronicity. Hagee says, if humans reincarnate, do plants and animals do as well? Yeah, and that's actually where the indigenous people got those ideas from reincarnation. They would see that a plant would die in the winter or whenever, and then it would a plant that was the same or looked the same as it did would grow in the spring. So that's where those ideas of reincarnation came from. The way that the indigenous people looked at it, we are just like nature. Okay, we're no different than anything in nature. So if a plant die in the winter and then be reborn again in the spring, so could human beings, and it was just a logical progression for them. See, Andrew McLean said, how can you control your vibration and energy? Let's see, they play a big part in our life. Absolutely, they do. So you first have to recognize you have to recognize your beliefs and what's triggering your emotions, because emotions always follow our beliefs. So if we if we define something as fearful, then if we see that thing, then we're going to be afraid. Okay, so if we believe that thing is something that we should be afraid of, and we see it, then that's when our beliefs about it provokes the emotion. So you have to begin to be aware of your vibration equals emotion. So you think of vibration. Emotions are the universal translation of vibration. So when something feels good, you're at a high vibration. When something feels bad, you're at a low vibration. And it's that simple. Okay? So it's not hard. So you decide how do you want to interact with a lot of these things. Okay? Let's see. Tighter dish shed. I saw that. You got a point. No, they don't. Oh man, I don't even want to repeat that what they said, but it was funny. It was funny. Yes, if you're liking the live, please give a thumbs up. Thumbs up, please. Thank you very much. Reaping principle valid. Sowing and reaping principle valid, no matter what. Absolutely. So Leader G asks, is the sowing and reaping principle. All that is another way of saying what you put out is what you get back. That's the prime law of the universe. Everything that is within you is projected outside of you. What is within you is going to be reflected back to you. Okay, so what you put out is what you get back. So absolutely. Let's see. And Bobby Anderson, what is your intake on the Kabbalion? I love it. It actually simplifies a lot of the universal laws and stuff. So I love a Kabbalion. One of my favorite books. And let's see. So I definitely recommend that for anybody to read. Let's see. Last year, I heard her tell me I was having a hard time in life because I had such a good life in the past. Told me that this life is my karma. Is that possible? Uh, yes, iHeart, that is. So iHeart says last year I had a reader tell me I was having a hard time in this life because I had such a good life in the past. He basically told me this is my karma, and is that possible? Yeah, and sometimes, and again, that's not necessarily a punishment. From a soul perspective, if you have an easy life, you don't really gain much wisdom. You don't gain much wisdom from that life because you're not going through anything. You're not going through any difficulties. So as a soul, you might choose the next life to be more difficult. Okay, so that's how that can happen. And understand there's infinite number of ways that all this stuff can happen. So when I'm saying something specifically, that's not the only way that it can happen. Okay. Let's see. Let me go back. Let me go back. Let me go back. Let's see. Differ. So Anson 47 says, how does Kemetic spirituality and Ifa differ, or do they have similarities? They're both African systems, and they have a lot of similarities, but they're just the names that they use are different. That's all. So many of the African systems have a lot of similarities. Vaudin and Loas are the same as Netters, the Kemetic Netters. Yoruba and the Orisha. Okay, those are all the Orisha and the Netters are the same thing. They just have different names. So these systems they have a lot of the same things. Most likely, the Yoruba system is older than the Kemetic system because it started in interior Africa and it traveled and the ideas traveled up the Nile. So Kemet might be a younger system than a lot of these other systems. Okay, so they learn from them and then they hone the knowledge. Let's see, option number. Let's see. Let's see. See, a lot of people don't come back and they say that death was peaceful. Okay, Hagee says a lot of people die and come back. They say that death was peaceful and they saw friends and family. They preach that we shouldn't be afraid of death. What are your thoughts? I agree 100%. We shouldn't be afraid of death. Death is like is analogous to us going to sleep. For a soul and a physical life, death is like us going to sleep and waking up the next morning. We're just in the same body. For a soul, death is like going to sleep and then they'll wake up in a new body, you know? So in a way, I'm just using that for analogy. They don't just like wake up. There's things in between, but it's just a transition from one life to the next a lot of times. So there's a lot of different things there that go on. So it's something that we talk about in my class and I teach my class. Sound that resonate with you? I'm a student of Esther Hicks and channels Abraham Hicks. Yes, I love Esther Hicks and Abraham Hicks, Bashar. Those are probably two of my favorites. So Bashar and Abraham Hicks are probably two of my favorites. So yeah, love those. And in case y'all don't know about channels, these are people that actually they channel higher level beings or higher level collectives, and they use that knowledge to help humanity. And so it's very good, very good teachings a lot of times. Sure, Anson, you're welcome. So Anson says, thank you for answering. The fear of the unknown is natural, perhaps, but a lot of times we have an unsubstantiated fear of the unknown to where it blocks us from even trying a lot of times. Keep reincarnating, we keep coming back. You say we keep reincarnating. So Bobby Hurley said we keep coming back in different. Your soul comes back as different people in different lives. So you live thousands of times, yes. And you get a chance to learn lessons, gain wisdom. And that's the whole idea of living, a soul being in a body, is that you're gaining wisdom, okay? And Mickey Thompson says, how can I find out about past life experiences? You can find somebody that does regression. So that's why. So you can look up past life regression and hypnotherapists that do that, and they can actually regress you and help you to discover past lives. So good question. Bobby Hurley saying, you saying I've died before? Yes, you lived as another person before, Bobby. So I'll guarantee you lived as another person before. So you had previous lives. All of us that are in this chat, I can guarantee you that we've had previous lives. We're connected right now because we've been associated with each other in some kind of way. So there's no accidents or coincidences here. Okay. See, AA says, "Yeah, I'm on the right track. I know that I told Spirit sent me to you." Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. So let's see. Proof of people who have past life recollection without even meditating. It's just there. You can purposely tap into your Akasha record. Yeah, she says many instances of proof from people who have past life recollection without even meditating. It's just there. Then you can purposely tap into your Akashic records. That's very true. You can do that yourself. But I recommend a regressionist first, because a lot of times we can tap into it and we think that we're making it up, or we're not quite intuitive enough yet to understand it or trust it. That's what I should say. We don't trust it. So though a regressionist can help you to confirm things. Let's see. Anson 47. Thank you. It's a $14.99 gift. Says, do you have any thoughts on ceremonial magic groups like the Golden Dawn? I've looked into them a little bit, and ceremonial magic. It is something that can be helpful, but it's also a lot of the rituals and stuff were done at a time when the energy was not as dense and abundant as it is now in this age that we're in. And a lot of times we don't even need those rituals. Okay. So that's just that's just something you can do for yourself, and just tap into these energies. Okay. Gina G, thank you for that $4.99. Definitely appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it. People use Kylenza Ritchie says, that people in Kemet use tarot? No. So tarot is something that is relatively new. It's only probably about 400 years old. So those tarot cards and stuff like that are new. But they did do divination other ways, like using bones, using runes and stuff like that. So tea leaves, all of those things are thousands of years old. But tarot is relatively new. Divination is not. So you can use divination. Astrology is something that people use divination. Okay, and that's something that Voice does. She does helps people with divination with astrology and birth charts and stuff. And she also does tarot. Okay, does tarot readings. So the moderator, Voice. And Voice, you can put your link up in there. So people ever want to get that, the tarot readings or a birth chart reading, put your link up in there. Let's see. What is the metaphysic perspective? Metaphysics just means above the physical or beyond the physical, what we call spiritual. So I'm giving you a lot of times a metaphysical perspective about things. So things that are beyond the physical. So meta means above or beyond. Let's see. Why in the hell would we want to use the leaf? Let's see. Are psychic mediums real? If so, is it a bad idea to see one? Okay, Hagee says, are psychic mediums real, and is it a bad idea to see one? That depends on your thoughts about it. So a lot of people, again, even Voice Shay, she's a medium. And my daughter, she can tap in and talk to people on the other side. So we've been educated to look at these things negatively through our spiritual experience, through our religious experience. But it's you that decides if it's negative or not, Hagee. It's your choice. So it's not based on what somebody else might think. It's what it does for you. And Nakimi Agape, thank you very much. Gave a $4.99 gift. Let's see. Good crystals for beginners. Yeah, she's talking about some good crystals for beginners: amethyst, golden tiger, eye quartz, angel light, and so many. So yeah, I'm a crystal person too. So I like crystals. Let's see. Hagee, 45 says, Hagee, I'm a psychic medium, but love, nothing but love over here. Absolutely. So she's saying that once you go to her as a psychic medium, that it's nothing but love. It's good and positive. So that's what it is. Anson 47 says, in your classes, do you let's see, does what was learned in the Egyptian mystery school? Can you share a little now? Let's see. Yeah, I teach the metaphysics or the metaphysics really of living life. Okay, and it's really, I call it the African mind rewire, because you literally are having to rewire your mind in the way that you think about life. And our ancient ancestors had a different way of looking at it that was a lot more empowering. So I go through that, and I basically build a person from the bottom. I give them a basic foundation that everything works from, and then build them up from there. So we talk about chakras, we talk about souls, we talk about different aspects. Okay, but not just talk about the chakras. How does it relate to your life? Okay, how does where does the information, what does the root chakra, what is it doing for you in your life? How do you know that the root chakra is blocked? Stuff like that. The sacral chakra, how does that work in your life? All right. I break those things down. So these things are not just like ideas just sitting out there. You just gather information. It's something that has practical application for you. Let's see. Let's see. Whistleblower says, "I see energy in dreams." Absolutely. You guys, you're more conscious when you're asleep than when you're awake. I'll guarantee you. All of us travel out of the body. Our consciousness leaves and travels and goes to other places. We literally talk to other beings, so other levels of existence, and we talk to people here on Earth that we might meet them in the spirit world, in the dream world. So that's always happening. Okay. Let's see. She is running from. Says Rhonda Greger says, my cousin is supposed to be a medium, but she's running from it. That's a shame that a lot of people do that. They are so afraid of their own gifts, man, and they run from it. That's interesting. Vovi says, I love my crystals. Absolutely. Me too. I love my crystals. So the Kemetic spirituality believe in gods and goddesses. So the White Empress says, does Kemetic spirituality believes in gods and goddesses? No. So Kemetic spirituality believes each of us are an extension of a god. So being male or female, a god or goddess. So again, it's just a logical progression for them that there's only one source that everything in the universe comes from. So that means that we have some part of that source within us. So that means that everybody is an aspect of the creator in their own form. You think of it in a good analogy I like to use is that if God is an ocean, then we're a drop. Okay? The drop is the only difference between the drop and the ocean is magnitude. So the ocean is, of course, a whole lot bigger. and a drop is a minuscule thing. But we're the same thing as that ocean, or we couldn't make up the ocean. Okay, so that's how the ancient Africans looked at it: is that we're an extension of the Creator experiencing itself as a human being. Okay. Man, electricity is held up. Hey. Let me see. Okay, Nagimi Agape say, when my child was very young, about 5 or 6 years old, and thank you for that gift, Nakimi. About 5 or 6 years old, she said, we came back as birds sometimes. She also had a tree that she talked to and an imaginary friend named Allah. Any thoughts? Okay, so children, before they're 7 years old, they are very, very psychic. Most children are. By the time they get 7 years old, we educate and rationalize all of that out of them. So I know the Jesuits used to have a saying that if you give me a child until they're 7 years old, they'll never stray from the church, because they know that they can indoctrinate them. Okay, but children their imaginary friends are usually people that they're talking to in the spirit world. That are their guides. So we call them imaginary, but in reality, they're talking to their guides. So, and then you had something else in that too. Come back as birds. We do not. If once you're a human, you do not come back as an animal or something like that. That you're, because the consciousness is something totally different. Okay, that's two different types of consciousness. So we don't come back as a animal or anything like that. People, I know there's other systems that talk about being punished in that way, that you might come back as a cow or something like that, but that's not how it works. Let's see. Andrew McLean say Vibe says, Andrew McLean, each stone has an energetic property that works with an element. So depending on which elements are dominant in your chart will determine which stones work best with your signature. Yeah. So depending on our energy, different stones will work different ways for us. And I know she's talking about the placement of the planets and stuff too. So depending on the placement of the planets, different stones work best with different people. Souls have a spiritual awakening if you have self from them due to them having negative energy. Let's see. Is Oki 13 Love says, can someone in your soul tribe have a spiritual awakening if you have to separate yourself from them due to them having negative energy? Sure. Yeah, they can. So they're a separate entity from you in that sense. So they can have a spiritual awakening at their time. So most definitely. Connect with your ancestors. So Eva Cotton says, do you connect with your ancestors? Yeah, I mean, it's some people call them ancestors, some people call them we call these connections by many different names, but my ancestors and stuff like that, yeah, I mean, we all do. We are our ancestors. I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, we are our ancestors, just in today's form. Let's see. Relatives. Camp Okoye asks, do we ever meet our relatives who have passed away? Absolutely, positively. A lot of times they'll come to you in your dreams. And when they're coming to you in your dreams, they're actually communicating with you. So that happens all the time. I had an aunt that passed, that was real close to my mother, that passed away a few months ago. And she comes to my mother, and my mother tells me that she comes to her in her dreams all the time. Now, my mother, she's Christian, so she doesn't believe in anything. She's older, so but she talks to me and tells me, and I just try to explain to her, that my aunt is communicating with her, just telling her that she's okay, basically. And they were very, very close. That moved fast. Do you sun gaze? Yes, I do. I do sun gaze. When I'm out, I like to go out and walk a lot. That's my meditation. A lot of times, I don't ever wear sunglasses, so I don't want to block the sun from my eyes. So so when I'm out walking. Where do the concept of demons come from? People so afraid. Yeah, DL Smith says, where did the concept of demons come from, and why are people so afraid of them? And that's something that I talked about a little bit earlier. It's just people, when you have the Christian idea of original sin, a sin that nobody can ever come back from. Basically, you know, you're born with it, with brings on guilt. Then you need something to balance out that takes that responsibility of the guilt away from you. So demons and devils and all that stuff is just a natural progression that's needed when you're already seen as a negative individual, born that way. You need something to say, it wasn't me, the devil made me do it, you know? So that's where a lot of that stuff comes from. It's just balancing that out. To take for our souls to move to. Good question. Hagee says, after death, how long does it take for our souls to move to a new body? And understand the time for them, once they leave the body, time is different. But they can literally, I've heard that it could take like 300 to 400 years that can happen, that between lives. But I've heard that people are actually incarnating now quicker. So that it's like things are starting to speed up, where it might be 10 to 20 years between lives. So, but that all depends on the soul. So don't take that as a hard and fast rule. It all depends on the soul and where they are and what they're doing. Okay. Gina G says, what is sun gazing? Good question. Thank you for asking that. Sun gazing is actually in the early morning for me. Before say 9 o'clock in the morning, I will stand and I'll look into the sun, just straight look into the sun, and actually meditate on something. A lot of times, what I'll do is I'll clear out my chakras, and when I'm sun gazing. Okay. So you can actually do that. Again, that's something that we talk about in my class. So teaching how to do that. Let's see, sun gazing. Let's see. Has anyone? Let's see. And Keisha Roberts says, has anyone astral traveled before? We do it all the time. We might not remember it, but we do it all the time. So this is definitely part of what we do. Let's see. Had to come. See, Nikki Thompson says, do we have to come back? She's like, that depends. That depends. If you learn all the lessons that you were supposed to learn, Mickey, that then and you can start a new cycle, and you can actually start a cycle into a higher level that's not part of Earth. So there's other places beside Earth. So that's again one of the things that we're taught is like Earth is it, but that's just not the case. So if you finish your cycle, I'm going to tell you now, if you're like angry with your like some relative or something, and you never make up, you never forgive them, then you're probably going to come back and y'all going to work through that again. So all those things are connected to your chakras, and if you don't work through those, you're going to come back and to work through them. So a lot of people want to work on their crown chakras when they ain't even got rid of the stuff in their root chakra yet that they're dealing with. Sure, Gina G, not a problem. She said, "Thank you for answering." Let's see. We have a class with the live Zoom session. That's the class. Sure. Yeah, that's the class with the live Zoom session. That is correct. And if you sign up for that class, then you also get my courses included in it. So that's the African Mind Rewire class. Let's see. And Andrew said, Vobas, can you send a link to your readings? I would love to know what my ancestors have to tell me. They play a big part in what I want, what knowledge I want, and information on them. So, and Voice put our link up there. So, KemeticCenteredLiving.com, Voice. So I forget the other, the back part of it. It cuts it off here. Omnipotent. Do you static or people talking? Let's see. Reading. What are your thoughts on black magic? Is it real? Is okay 13 Love says, what are your thoughts on black magic? Is it real? Yeah, I mean, you can there's always two sides of everything. So yeah, black magic is real. So Rhonda says, which class teach how to use your high vibration in the world? So that's in my Aftermind Rewire class, but I also teach some of that too in my course. So you'll get some of that in both of them. But if you sign up for the class, you get to take both, and what I found is that people that take the class and are doing the courses at the same time, they actually start to connect a lot of dots and get a lot more out of it as well. Let's see, let's see. Okay, so do you believe? Sam P says, so do you believe in voodoo? It's just a spiritual system. So it's just an African spiritual system. So it's not a matter of me believing in it. I'm aware of it. But believe, is it something real? It's as real as people want it to be. So most definitely. Let's see. Let's see. Carlo, yes, you have to pay for the classes. Absolutely. Well worth it. All right, guys. Well, I guess that's going to be the end here. So it's already after and Dante's Peak. Okay, I see you. I see. Do you do any direct consultation with patrons? Yes, I have coaching consultations. So outside of the class, so if people want to do those, yeah, I have those. So definitely. All right. So anyway, well, guys, I guess it's already been over an hour and 60 minutes. The power didn't go out. Yay. So maybe they're going to help me out tonight. I won't be freezing to death, but it's been a good class. Your questions are always some good ones all the time. So definitely appreciate it. And thank you for that gift, Dante's Peak, $5. And all of you guys that gave tonight, I really appreciate you. Thank you very much, Ashe. And definitely appreciate it. So, but you guys have a good evening. Until next time, we'll do it again Saturday. So so Voice and I are trying to do these on Wednesday and Saturday because I know some people work on the weekends and can't get to the Saturday. So we decided to do a Wednesday night class. So it seems like it's y'all like these on Wednesday night. We'll keep doing them. Okay, and then we'll do the Saturday class as well. Only time I don't do the Saturday class is when I'm doing my Saturday Zoom class. So once a month we do those. So that's the only Saturday that we miss, and that's going to be the third Saturday of every month. So that's what I'm just going to start doing the Zoom classes on that. So, but thank you very much, guys. Definitely appreciate it. Y'all have a great night. All right.